The stars seemed unfamiliar tonight. Commander Yuki pressed her forehead to the frosted glass of Luna Station's observation deck, staring at something that defied all reason. Vast silhouettes drifted between the planets, larger than cities, blotting out light across Jupiter's moons. Her hand trembled as she activated the comms panel. "Lieutenant Commander Minho, report to the command center immediately." His reply crackled back at once. "On my way, Commander. The readings are breaking limits." Yuki sprinted through steel corridors, her boots striking the floor with sharp echoes. Officers rushed past, faces drained of color. Every one of them knew what those readings meant. Something impossible had arrived. The command center seethed with activity. Screens repeated the same vision, colossal vessels filling the void between Earth and Mars. Each one stretched the size of a nation. Hulls glimmered with metals no human eye had ever known. "How many?" Yuki demanded. 200 confirmed," Minho answered grimly. "Possibly more hiding beyond the gas giants." Her eyes locked on the figures. Humanity's mightiest warship was no larger than a speck beside these titans. Earth's entire fleet could vanish inside just one of their Leviathans. Suddenly, a transmission pulsed through the comms array. The system translated it instantly, though the words struck like a blade. "People of the third planet," it began. "We are the Vorak hegemony. For 3,000 of your years, we have ruled this galaxy. You will surrender within one planetary rotation. Refuse, and we will turn your world to ash. This is your only warning." The threat echoed again and again. English, Korean, Spanish, Russian. The intruders had been observing Earth for centuries. Far away aboard the lead vessel, Supreme Admiral Krex Tal studied the blue planet through his vast display. His stone-gray skin caught the dim light as his forearms slid with ease over command. Panels. He had conquered many such worlds before. "Another primitive race," he muttered. "They will bend swiftly." His second, a spindly being with too many eyes, inclined its head. "Scans confirm crude nuclear arms and chemical rockets. They have yet to escape their own system." Krex's laughter rumbled like breaking rock. "Excellent. Weak species make obedient thralls. The hegemony's conquests numbered in the thousands. The sequence never shifted: fear, futile resistance, surrender. Humanity would be no different. On Earth, emergency councils erupted in every capital. President Hayek sat deep beneath Seoul in a fortified bunker, hemmed in by generals and scientists. The air reeked of stale coffee and dread. "Options?" he asked quietly. General Daejo rose, hair wild from nervous hands. "Sir, our nuclear arsenal can't touch them. Even if it did, their shields would block it all." "What about orbital stations?" Hayek pressed. "Luna has defensive arrays," Yuki said over the link, "but nothing strong enough to dent ships of that magnitude." For the first time, Dr. Uni, director of the Aurora project, spoke. Young, but with eyes alight with rare understanding. She carried knowledge few possessed. "Perhaps there's another way," she said. "Explain," ordered the president. "For 20 years, my team has developed quantum cascade technology, originally meant as protection against nuclear strikes, but it may cripple their systems as well." Daejo frowned. "May?" "Their fleets rely entirely on quantum computing for shields, weapons, life support. If we disrupt those processes, their giants could fall. Their own power could become their weakness." The room stilled. Beyond those walls, the world braced for doom. Children sobbed against parents. Cities planned evacuations. Reporters spoke of humanity's final day. But deep in hidden bases, shadows stirred. Long-shelved weapons hummed awake. Scientists who had labored unseen for decades found their purpose at last. The Aurora project had been seeded in 1955, barely 10 years after the first The nuclear bomb had barely existed when a handful of scientists posed a dangerous question. What if humanity faced an enemy with superior weapons? Building bigger bombs would never be enough. Survival demanded a new way of thinking. Dr. Uni's grandfather had been among those pioneers. From him, she learned a lesson etched deep into her bones. The greatest strength of an enemy often concealed the seed of its failure. Power, turned inward, could become destruction. Aboard his massive flagship, Admiral Krexel checked the ship's chronometer. 6 hours remained before Earth's surrender deadline. He expected human governments to collapse in 3. They always did. Sir, his communications officer reported, thousands of transmissions from the planet, pleas for mercy, offers to yield, requests for delay. Dismiss them, Krexel growled. When the deadline passes, we begin the demonstration. It was tradition. Cities burned first to remind the prey of futility. Then the real surrender followed. Quick, absolute. On Luna Station, Yuki gazed down at Earth's turning sphere, a jewel adrift in blackness. Somewhere beneath the clouds, her parents in Busan, her brother in Tokyo, might be looking skyward, wondering about her fate. Would she ever return? Commander, Minho warned. Massive energy spikes detected in their weapons. How long? Until they fire? An hour at most? Yuki's voice cut sharp across the secure channel. Dr. Uni, this is Luna. How much time do you need? Calm as stone, the scientist replied. Cascade generators are charging. 30 minutes. You'll have it. Around the globe, hidden bunkers roared alive. Gargantuan EMP devices thrummed. Secret quantum computers solved equations for weapons no battlefield had ever seen. The hegemony fleet slid into firing lines. Each vessel was a wonder, constructed over centuries, armored in physics-defying alloys, shielded by quantum perfection. Their plasma batteries could sunder mountains, their cannons split planets. They were flawless engines of conquest. That flawlessness would be their doom. Begin the demonstration, Admiral Krexal ordered. Target their densest cities. Plasma cannons swiveled toward Earth. Their barrels glowed with contained annihilation. In moments, billions of lives would vanish. But before the trigger fell, in a subterranean lab, Dr. Uni pressed a single control. Around the world, her peers did the same. Cascade generators unleashed invisible storms that tore through the void. Thought. Hegemony had ruled for 3 millennia. They had annihilated worlds, enslaved species, perfected war. Yet perfection blinds, and now they would learn how ignorance kills. At 1432 Earth Standard Time, Krexal's flagship spat a plasma torpedo, a weapon of sublime beauty. It blazed white-hot as it slashed toward Manhattan. Enough energy to turn New York into glass pulsed inside. It never struck. On Luna Station, Yuki's console flared with impossible readings. Minho, are you seeing? This, his voice cracked. The torpedo just stopped. It's suspended. Across the fleet, plasma weapons froze mid-flight, drifting like stars unmoored. Guidance collapsed. Targeting collapsed. The arsenal meant to erase humanity hung inert in space. What is happening? Krexal thundered, stone skin rippling in rage. Chief Engineer Vexmore's 4 hands blurred across controls. Sir, our weapons are gone. All quantum targeting is cascading into failure. Restore them. I cannot. The collapse is spreading to every system. On Earth, Dr. Uni stood in her control room, eyes fixed on the swarm of red dots representing enemy ships. Slowly, red bled to yellow, yellow to green. It's working, she whispered. Dr. Uni, report, President Hayek demanded through her headset. The cascade waves are inside their fleet, sir. Their quantum systems are unraveling. Unraveling. How? For the first time in days, Uni smiled. Picture a house of cards, Mr. President. Our weapons are the wind. For 60 years, Hidden minds had probed quantum strangeness. They discovered its power and its fragility. A nudge in the wrong place collapsed the entire structure. The hegemony had woven their empire from such fragile fabric. Weapons, shields, engines, even the waste systems aboard their leviathans, all quantum-bound. Cascade weapons did not destroy. They unmade memory itself. On the orbital defense station New Seoul, Captain Sun-Ho leaned against the viewport, watching the Titanic fleet falter. Giants drifted out of formation as panicked pilots. "Lost command! This is New Seoul Command!" His voice echoed over comms. "Phase 2, fire all Cascade torpedoes." Unlike the alien plasma lances, humanity's weapons were small, dark, almost unremarkable. They carried no fire, no warheads, no visible terror. Only code, viruses crafted to crawl inside alien quantum. Mines. The first struck Krexal's flagship with a faint thud, clinging to its hull. No explosion followed. It merely began whispering its corruption into the vessel's veins. The virus spread like wildfire through circuits. Weapons vanished. Shields guttered and fell. Life support systems sputtered. Even the lights dimmed to black. "Emergency power," Krexal barked. "There is no emergency power, sir," the chief engineer replied in despair. "The virus has consumed everything. All quantum cores are compromised." Across the fleet, the scene repeated. Ships that had once ruled the stars for millennia became hollow shells in minutes. Crews sat trapped in dark chambers, breathing stale air, powerless to act. In a bunker beneath Korea's mountains, Colonel Jo oversaw the battlefield. Her displays charted the positions of every human weapon, every alien hulk. The plan was working flawlessly. Lunar arrays, fire. On the moon's far side, mines disguised for decades shed their masks. Vast quantum disruptors hidden in plain sight, unleashed beams of cascading energy. Reinforcements at the edge of the system collapsed before firing a shot. Aboard his flagship, Krexal stared at error-filled screens. Quantum links were dead. Comms silent. Even his personal armor had gone inert. "How are they doing this?" he demanded of his science officer. The six-eyed creature manipulated crude chemical monitors. "Sir, they're using electromagnetic surges to fracture quantum coherence." "Impossible. EMPs cannot breach quantum shielding." "Normally, no. But these humans, they've engineered cascade failures. Each fracture spreads like a chain reaction until the entire lattice falls. For the first time in centuries, Krexal felt it. Fear. His empire had triumphed because their technology eclipsed all others. But the humans had not tried to match their brilliance. They had shattered it. On Earth, General Daejo leaned toward his displays. "How long until their fleet is completely neutralized?" Dr. Uni checked her data. "At this propagation rate, 4 minutes. 4 minutes to cripple a galactic empire. 4 minutes to reveal its foundation was nothing but sand." And the truth reached even further. The hegemony's quantum network spanned the galaxy itself. Subspace links bound fleets, colonies, and stations together. When the Cascade virus infected the ships above Earth, it rippled outward, unraveling defenses on distant worlds, silencing stations, crashing trade networks. On the comm boards, Minho monitored alien chatter. "Commander, they're scrambling. For backups. Nothing responds." "Their life support?" Yuki asked. "Some have chemical reserves. They'll survive. But they can't fight." Yuki exhaled. The mission had never been about slaughter. The objective was disablement, not extermination. Humanity sought victory, not genocide. On New Seoul's defense ring, Captain Sun-Ho readied the next stage. "Boarding crews, prepare for launch. Time to meet our guests." Swift human shuttles slipped from hangars, darting toward the crippled behemoths. No resistance came. Once proud warships hung like stranded leviathans in the void. A command chamber, Dr. Tae-hyung, briefed President Hayek. "Sir, we've achieved the unimaginable. Their strength has become their weakness." "Explain," Hayek pressed. "Their perfection doomed them. The more advanced the quantum web, the more fragile under cascade attack. A primitive species with crude tech would barely feel it, but the hegemony's elegance made them brittle. As the 10-minute mark neared, Admiral Krexall faced shame deeper than death. His invincible fleet, jewel of the hegemony's might, now floated helplessly around a primitive world they had come to subjugate. At last, his comm officer coaxed one crude chemical radio to life. "Sir, we could attempt to—" Krexall's words dripped bitterness. The mighty hegemony, reduced to begging before a species that had not even mastered its own solar system. But choice was gone. His fleet was dead, weapons silenced, crews trapped aboard vessels slowly failing. Humanity had achieved the unthinkable. In 10 minutes of combat, an empire spanning 3 millennia had fallen, not to greater firepower, but to greater thought. The war had ended before it began. Captain Sun-Ho's shuttle bumped softly against the flagship's hull. Through the viewport, the alien ship loomed endlessly, even more terrifying up close than sensors had shown. "Cutting now," Sergeant Borum said, igniting a plasma torch against the thick alloy. Human tools, patient and relentless, breached the alien metal. Inside, dim lights flickered, life support wheezed, the air stank of burnt circuits and alien sweat. "Hello!" Sun-Ho called in English, then repeated in Korean and Spanish. From the shadows, a voice replied in broken English. "Do not harm us. We surrender." They found Admiral Krexall in the husk of his command chamber. Screens were dark. His stone gray. Skin had paled, arms hanging loose. "You are human," he rasped. "Captain Sun-Ho, Earth Defense Force, I'm here to accept your surrender." Krexall's laugh was hollow. 3,000 years of conquest, ended by primitives. "Your ships are disabled, but your crews live," Sun-Ho said firmly. "We seek no slaughter, only that you leave our system." "Leave?" Krexall's eyes widened. "Foolish child, you don't understand. My fleet cannot leave. Your cascade has shattered our FTL. Without quantum sync, our jump drives are dead. We are trapped." This revelation shook Sun-Ho. "Explain." "Our drives depend on flawless quantum alignment. Your virus has corrupted every core. We cannot rebuild quickly. We are stranded." Meanwhile, in her lab on Earth, Dr. Uni traced. The cascades spread. Her displays lit with failures across the galaxy, stars winking out like dying embers. Dr. Uni, her assistant Minho reported, "Signals from deep space. Distress calls. Hundreds of them. The virus had gone farther than intended. Through subspace networks, it leapt to every hegemony node. Ships, stations, planetary defenses, even civilian grids. On Vorak Prime, Emperor Zethul sat upon his throne as advisors brought nonsense reports. "Your Majesty," Admiral Nexvar said grimly, 17-sector fleet silent, quantum networks collapsing. "How can this be? A single human world has poisoned our empire," the Emperor's tentacles writhed. "One world, one primitive world, has undone the hegemony." Across enslaved planets, chains cracked. On Kepler 438b, reptilian draw miners stared as guard towers. "Darkened. The machines have stopped," whispered Elder Sikron. "What does it mean?" a young one asked. "It means the sky has fallen upon our masters." On Earth, President Hayek gathered world leaders. Alien surrender had been broadcast, but reality was grimmer. "They cannot leave," General Dejo reported. "Their admiral claims the cascade has destroyed their interstellar drives. The Empire's remnants are trapped here." Dr. Uni's voice came cool over comms. "Sir, the greater problem, the virus spread to their homeworlds. We may have crippled their entire civilization. The room froze. They had meant only to defend Earth, not dismantle an empire. What are the consequences? President Hayek asked quietly. Unknown. If their systems control life support, billions may already be dying. This was never humanity's intent. Cascade was a scalpel, not a plague. Colonel Ju broke the silence. What if we repair their systems? Repair? Uni echoed. You built the virus? Could you craft its cure? Maybe. But we'd need far deeper understanding of their quantum networks. Then we learn, Hayek said firmly. If we broke their empire by accident, we must help rebuild it. Already, Sun Ho's boarding crews were extracting alien cores. Dr. Uni, he transmitted, we're sending you their tech archives. Hardware intact, software corrupted. Maybe you can reverse it. On Vorak Prime, Emperor Zethel faced an unthinkable choice. His fleet's broken, colonies rebelling. Only the humans, his conquerors, might save him. Send word to Earth, he ordered. What message, sire? Tell them, we ask for their aid. The words burned like poison, but pride could not save a dying empire. Across liberated worlds, rebellion surged. On Altar 4, blue-skinned Zahirians armed themselves with captured weapons. On frozen Teidi Prime, insectoid Clact emerged from ice caverns to reclaim stolen cities. The galaxy unraveled. In her lab, Dr. Uni labored without rest. The alien systems were elegant, advanced, yet decipherable. The problem was scale. It's like rebuilding a house still on fire, she told her team. Every repair is undone by lingering infection. What if we isolate, suggested Dr. Minho. One ship at a time, disconnected from the network. That could work, she admitted. But restoring their empire will take years. Even stranger, enslaved peoples offered aid. The conquered now lent hands to repair the empire that bound them. And the humans who had nearly destroyed it were working to preserve it. Admiral Krexel, once proud beyond measure, now cooperated with Captain Sun Ho to prioritize life support systems. He never imagined gratitude toward an enemy. You fight unlike any I've known, he confessed. How so? Sun Ho asked. You defeat us, then strive to heal us. Why? Sun Ho thought a moment. Because victory in war isn't victory, in peace. As word spread, Earth received countless transmissions. Some were gratitude from freed races, others threats from loyalists blaming humanity for chaos. But the most vital message came from a group of alien scientists who had been working in secret for decades. People of Earth, the message began. We are the Galactic Liberation Front. For 50 years we have fought the hegemony in shadows. Your Cascade technology has given us the weapon to free the galaxy. Share it with all the oppressed. Dr. Uni stared at the transmission. Humanity had unleashed more than a defensive tool. They had sparked a galactic revolution. Now the question was what humanity would do with a victory it had never sought. On Vorak Prime, the secure chamber held an unprecedented gathering. Emperor Zakthul sat at the head of his council, surrounded by his commanders. Reports told the same impossible truth. Read it again, he demanded. Fleet Admiral Nexavar cleared his throat. Your Majesty, in 72 hours we lost contact with all 17 sector fleets. Quantum communications are silent in 47 systems. Slave uprisings burn across 200 worlds. And the source? A single planet. Earth. 8 billion population. Primitive nuclear and chemical propulsion. Zakthul's tentacles clenched. One world? Yes, Majesty. In 3 millennia of hegemony rule, nothing like this. We conquered thousands of races, absorbed countless civilizations, ruled millions of worlds. All by one truth, our unmatched technology. Now a species confined to its own system has shattered it, in 10 minutes. How? Whispered the Emperor. Science advisor Mortith laid out her tablets. The humans use what they call quantum cascade. Instead of matching our systems, they corrupt quantum coherence itself. In plain words, imagine our technology as a perfectly tuned instrument. The humans created a noise that makes the instrument forget music. On Earth, Dr. Uni tracked the effect. Her stations lit with disruptions flaring across the galaxy. Dr. Taeyong, look, these signals are still propagating. He frowned. Impossible. The original pulse was days ago. It's self-replicating. Every infected node becomes a new transmitter. You mean we built a galaxy-wide computer plague? Worse. It strikes only the advanced. The more sophisticated the society, the harder it falls. Primitive worlds, barely touched. The implications shook them both. President Hayek convened the Global Defense Council. The crisis was no longer Earth's, it was galactic. What's the status in our system? General Dejo scanned his notes. Admiral Krexile is cooperative. His crews are repairing life support with our teams. No hostilities since Cascade. But galaxy-wide, Dr. Uni's holographic map bloomed. Red dots spread like wildfire through hegemony space. Sir, 90% of their infrastructure is offline. Good God. How many affected? Trillions. The chamber fell silent. They had meant only to defend Earth, yet had crippled civilization. Options? Asked President Hayek. Colonel Ju answered first. Develop an antivirus. How long? Dr. Uni shook her head. Months. Years. The virus adapts, like unburning a forest. What about repair? Possible, she said. We can build isolated recovery for life support transport emergencies. Engineer Minhuk added, we've already shared codes with alien crews here. They learn quickly. Across the galaxy, rebellion spread faster than the cascade. On 1,000 worlds, oppressed races rose. On Riel 7, aquatic swimmers used natural gifts to sabotage underwater installations. The cascade had already crippled quantum. The cascade virus had already crippled the quantum security systems, making it simple for rebels to strike. Elder swimmer Kithara led her kin through the drowned remains of a hegemony control center. The metal gods lie shattered, she sang in the ancient tongue. The time to swim free has come. On the arid sands of Kepler 442b, the nomadic desert tribes emerged from centuries-old hiding places. Their chieftain, Windalker Sen, gazed upon the silent hegemony outposts with grim satisfaction. The Sky Lord's sorcery has abandoned them, he told his people. Now we reclaim what has always been ours. The same story unfolded on countless worlds. Enslaved peoples rose up, casting off chains while their overlords stumbled helpless in the dark. Yet not all news carried to Earth was hopeful. Mr. President, said Communications Director Eugene, we're receiving distress calls from 17 different systems. Hegemony civilians stranded on failing stations, colony vessels losing air, entire worlds cut off from supplies. Show me, ordered President Hayek. The central screen lit up with a spreading map of humanitarian collapse. Without their quantum supply network, the Empire could no longer feed its people. We must help them, Hayek said firmly. General Dejo blinked in disbelief. Sir, these are the same people who came here to destroy us. The military attacked us, the president countered. These are civilians, children. If we let them perish, how are we any better than the empire they served? Dr. Uni voiced the same thought. We can design basic repair protocols, life support, emergency links, food distribution. Do it, Hayek ordered, and ensure the entire galaxy knows Earth offers aid to all, not just ourselves. This choice shifted everything. On Vorak Prime, Emperor Zakthul heard the human offer with clashing emotions. Pride urged him to refuse help from those who broke his empire. Survival demanded acceptance. What are their terms? He asked. None, Your Majesty, replied Foreign Minister Velkin. Aid freely given to all. No surrender, no tribute, no territory demanded. Only permission to repair. The Emperor stared upward in silence. In 3 millennia of rule, the hegemony had never faced anything like this. Foes who fought, yes. Worlds that surrendered, countless. But an enemy that destroyed you. And then offered to help rebuild? Unthinkable. At last he said, "Send word to Earth. We accept." The galaxy's response stunned even optimists. Within days, pleas for aid poured in. Freed peoples sought guidance to maintain infrastructure their masters had abandoned. Loyalists begged for food to stave off famine. Neutral powers offered to help spread supplies. Dr. Uni found herself coordinating the greatest humanitarian mission in galactic history. "We need repair teams tailored to each system type," she instructed. "Hegemony circuits, Zepyrian biocomputers, Clacti crystal arrays." "How do we learn them all?" asked Dr. Minhuk. "From the builders themselves," Uni answered. A radical notion, former enemies teaching humans to mend their own machines. Captain Sunho oversaw the first joint repair mission, humans, hegemony engineers, and 2 Zepyrian specialists. "Remember," he told them, "we're not conquerors. We're not liberators, we're neighbors helping neighbors." 6 hours later, their combined effort restored life support to a failing hegemony hospital ship. Work that alone would have taken humans days. Word spread quickly. Volunteers from countless races joined. Mixed repair teams fanned outward across the stars. Yet the most profound change was happening quietly, in the hearts of ordinary people. For the first time in 3 millennia, beings across the stars were uniting as equals rather than rulers and subjects. Admiral Krexel, repairing his vessel's failing systems beside human engineers, voiced what many now felt. "We ruled with fear," he told Captain Sunho, "but you're teaching us something foreign to us." "And what is that?" Sunho asked. "That cooperation endures longer than fear." The hegemony's throne had not only fallen in 10 minutes of combat, it had been replaced by something altogether different, an interstellar order built on partnership. And all of it had begun the day Earth refused to yield. Deep beneath Altar 4, the blue-skinned Zahirian scientist, Leth Ara, labored under the dim glow of her chemical lamp. For half a century she had hidden, perfecting inventions the Empire could neither track nor plunder. Now she received the signal that would change her destiny. "To the oppressed peoples of the galaxy," a human voice declared across her crude radio, "this is Dr. Uni of Earth. We are transmitting full designs for quantum cascade systems. Use them to claim your freedom." Leth Ara's hands trembled. As she copied equations of breathtaking elegance, principles simple enough for any industrial culture to replicate, the humans were giving away the most devastating military advance in galactic history, freely. On Kepler 438b, the DRA elder Cizeron assembled miners around an outdated comm unit. Despite its poor circuits, Earth's broadcast cut through. "Cascade. Emitters need only basic electromagnetic arrays," Dr. Uni explained. "We have included schematics that can be built from common industrial tools." "Can it be done?" a young worker asked anxiously. Ciceron studied the diagrams carefully. "Yes, much of our mining machinery already contains these parts." Within hours, secret workshops across the planet came alive. After generations in chains, entire civilizations were quietly constructing weapons their masters could never anticipate. The revolution ignited on Taosti Prime. The insectoid Clacti, once expert miners and engineers before subjugation, built their first cascade prototype in only 3 days. Queen Builder Zik emerged from tunnels her people had endured for centuries, carrying devices that appeared to be plain metal boxes but contained enough power to annihilate a hegemony station. "Today, we reclaim the skies," she clicked in her ancient tongue. At dawn, hundreds of cascade units activated around hegemony fortresses. In moments, Planetary shields collapsed. The emblems of oppression that had bound the Clacti for 800 years became lifeless monuments. Governor Raxtel, watching from his command hub, saw his defense grid flicker into silence. How is this possible? They possess no such technology. His shaken aide scanned readouts. Sir, they're using electromagnetic pulses derived from the human cascade design. Then humanity is attacking us here too, Raxtel snapped. No, sir. These devices were built by the insects themselves. Tausti Prime's uprising was only the spark. As word of victory spread through covert networks, rebellions flared across dozens of worlds. On Earth, Dr. Uni monitored the cascade of revolts with a heavy heart. We've unleashed something we cannot control, she confessed to President Hayek. Regretting the decision, he asked. Not regret, sir, but foresight. These species have known only slavery. They have no blueprint for stable rule. What do you suggest? The president pressed. We must share more than weapons. Offer science, medicine, farming, engineering. Help them craft societies, not just armies. This stance, to release Earth's knowledge without restriction, stirred fierce debate. Generals feared surrendering humanity's advantage. Skeptics doubted aliens could be trusted with such power. Yet the policy endured. Within weeks, humanity was broadcasting lessons from elementary chemistry to advanced computation, translated into dozens of tongues with the help of alien refugees. Colonel Ju, directing the project, reviewed incoming requests. They're asking for everything. Agricultural methods from the Dre, medical training from the swimmers, even music and art from the Zepyrians. Art? General Dejo frowned. Culture is as vital as tools, Dr. Taiyang insisted. They are rebuilding their very identities. On Vorhak Prime, Emperor Zakthul faced collapse beyond comprehension. His dominion was not merely crumbling, it was being disassembled piece by the very races he had once chained. How many systems are gone? He asked Fleet Admiral Nexavar. 47 confirmed, Majesty. Likely more we cannot reach. And our counter? There is none. Our fleets are disabled. Garrisons isolated. Rebels wield cascade arms now. Smoke rose even within sight of his palace spires. What do the humans demand? The Emperor muttered. Nothing, Majesty. They continue sending aid even to us. No tribute, no concessions. Only knowledge. The most confounding reality of all, humanity had achieved the greatest triumph in galactic warfare, yet chose to behave not as rulers, but as teachers. Captain Sunho discovered the same lesson while leading joint repair missions. To him, these aliens were not foes, but survivors of an age-long tyranny. The Empire taught us strength meant domination, said Zahirian engineer Kethanol as they restored a failing oxygen system together. Your people believe strength lies in uplifting others, which proves stronger. Sunho gestured toward the repair bay. Humans, Zepyrians, Clacti, even ex-hegemony troops working shoulder to shoulder. See for yourself. The cooperation was not without its struggles. Each species carried distinct habits, unique priorities, and unfamiliar problem-solving methods, yet somehow progress continued. Engineer Minhook had become skilled at guiding cross-species teams. The secret is to center on what unites us, he explained to newcomers. We all want working life support. We all want to end suffering. We all want to create something better than what existed before. As liberation spread, emerging governments began taking shape on freed planets. Some modeled themselves after human democracy. Others revived ancestral councils or designed entirely new systems. The vital point was that the choice was finally theirs. On Riel 7, the swimmers developed a method where momentous decisions were reached in massive gatherings beneath the oceans. Elder swimmer Cathara described it to a human observer. We circle together, voices carried through the water's song. When harmony emerges, we know consensus is reached. And if consensus fails? Then we break into smaller circles until deeper understanding forms. The Clacti pursued another course. Their queen builder model expanded, granting multiple queens stewardship over society. Queen Zik retained her role in construction and engineering, while new queens oversaw agriculture, science, and diplomacy. Each queen knows her hive, Zik explained. Together we know the nest entire. Dr. Yunbi soon found herself directing an extraordinary scientific alliance. Researchers from countless species exchanged knowledge, building upon one another's insights, producing innovations no single world could have discovered. Quantum theory, biological engineering, even faster-than-light communication, she reported to the Global Science Council. By joining forces, progress outpaces what any one species could achieve, even humanity, especially humanity. We excel at some things, yet we have much to learn. Zaparian biocomputers redefine efficiency. Clacti architecture could transform our cities. Even hegemony quantum physics offers ideas we once ignored. The galaxy was shifting at breakneck pace. New alliances bound species who had never spoken before. Trade flourished through cooperation instead of exploitation. Science spread openly, no longer locked away by armies. Yet the greatest change lay in perception, how species regarded one another. Admiral Krexel, now liaison to human and alien crews, pondered this alongside Captain Sunho. For millennia, we saw other races as tools to exploit or foes to destroy. Your people revealed another way, partners to cherish. What began with 10 minutes of cascade fire had grown far beyond rebellion. It had become the rebirth of galactic civilization itself, and it was only the beginning. 6 months after the short war that rewrote history, Admiral Yuki stood aboard the New Horizon, staring at the impossible realized. The vessel was a living emblem of interspecies unity. Human engineering forged its cascade defense. Zaparian biocomputers kept life support flawless. Clacti methods gave its hull unmatched strength. Even scientists once loyal to the hegemony